Part of celebrating Dr. King's life means also that we have to celebrate his legacy. And a legacy means that something has to live on. Amen? Okay, something has to live on. And what are we celebrating with Dr. King? Are we celebrating his birthday? Are we celebrating his accomplishments? Are we celebrating his ideals? And I would say a little bit of most of those, but I'm going to speak specifically to his ideals today. Okay, we're celebrating the legacy of his ideals. Martin Luther King did not die because he was a black man. He died because of his ideals and what he believed in and what he fought for and what he wanted for us. That's why he was assassinated. I was 2 years old when Dr. King was assassinated. So I was not part of the work that he did on the ground and on the front lines, but I can honestly say today and stand before you and say that I'm a part of the legacy of his work. And the legacy that I speak to is the value of education, because education in my work is the common denominator for all citizens in this country. And I stand before you a proud educator and a proud lifelong educator who has fought for the education of students over a 25-year career thus far. In terms of Dr. King's work was about equality, right? Everyone say equality. Equality. Now, equality means that everyone, black kids and white kids and all kids will come together and be able to play, to learn, to work, to live together. And he believed in that as a fundamental principle, and he was willing to die for that principle, right? But it's been 50 years since Dr. King passed away. And we've seen a lot of great work in terms of equality, but has equality taken us everywhere that we need to go thus far? When you think about our struggles today, the incarceration rate for African American males is the highest percentage of all other ethnicities, right? We have things called an achievement gap in education today, where there's a disparity between the achievement of students of color and students of other races. So when we speak to equality, and we just talked about housing and the other things that we have in healthcare and other things that we struggle with, okay, that folks of color struggle with. So when we talk about equality, okay, 50 years later, equality is a work that's taken us very far, but there's still work to do. And I think our two recipients today let us know that work can't be carried on by these folks. They fought the fight. So now it's up to us to make sure that the legacy continues, right? So let me share a little bit of my revolution. My revolution takes equality and changes it to equity. Everyone say equity. Equity. I believe in equity. And equity is a little different than equality, but it is an extension of Dr. King's work. I believe that education, in particular public education, needs to provide equity and access to all students. Now, what is the difference between equality and equity, you might ask? Equality is giving every student a pair of shoes, right? That's equality. Every kid gets a pair of shoes. Equity is making sure that the shoe fits. Does that make sense? So in terms of the work that we have to do with public education today, we need to make sure that the education students receive fits them where they are. It meets their unique needs. And that means that we have to advocate for equity in education, equity in access. When we see students that are in gifted education, when we see advanced placement opportunities, when we see students that are getting opportunities beyond the regular classroom, we need to make sure that that's a diverse population of students and that every kid has an opportunity, right? And they can do the work, okay? They can do the work. We just have to provide the equity and access for our students. Now, in terms of spreading that advocacy into the audience, I believe that you can also advocate for this legacy as well of Dr. King's by ensuring that your school board members, your elected politicians, that your teachers, your principals, and your superintendents ensure that they provide the best public education possible for students today. because all students cannot go to private school. All students cannot go somewhere else. The public education that we have today has to be the best public system of education that we have possible if we're going to have equality in this country. And I could speak all day to that, but I know I have 3 minutes. So I'm going to stop there because it's something I'm very passionate about. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I just want to give you one example before I stop. Am I at 4 minutes? All right. So my son is timing me here. So I did an experiment this year. I took one of my elementary schools, Madison Elementary in Caroline County, and we put a gifted education day activity every Tuesday. All the second graders in that school have a gifted activity where they are a problem that they have to solve, where they have to critically think, problem solve. They get together, they have to brainstorm and come up with a solution to fix a problem that they know nothing about, okay? And it's timed. Now, this is a gifted activity that you would normally give to high-achieving students, right? But we're giving it to every kid in that 30 or 45-minute window where they get an opportunity to really, do you know the kids love it? They look forward to it. And I'll tell you, it just shows that when you spread equity and access to all students will achieve. We do not have an achievement gap. We have a believement gap, okay? So just keep that in mind. And make that your revolution as a citizen and as a parent. Move that forward to whatever school division your child attends or wherever you live and pay taxes. Make sure that we address equity in our public education system and support your public education system.